Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Yes, this lecture will be divided into parts. The first part will be I will talk about WebSocket, what it is, the theory, and the second part will be writing some codes, and we will build such a chat. I will demonstrate it like, yes, the username is sent by the server, and we get this username every time when we refresh. It's a new username, and we can write something, send it, and others see it. From here, this will get it, and this will get it also. Okay, but first let's start with the theorem about WebSockets, what it is. So WebSocket is nothing but a persistent connection between the client and the server. It's a protocol, and it's located on our application layer of OSI model, also as HTTP, and yeah, it uses the TCP on the transport layer, also as HTTP. If you, I think you learned about OSI model, but if not, it's just a representation of the data flow between one computer and other. Okay, let's speak about the difference between the WebSocket and HTTP. So the WebSocket, the HTTP just makes a request to the server and gets a response, and after this, the connection between the client and server is terminated. While when we are using WebSockets, we are creating a request once, then we have a handshake from our server to the client, and the WebSocket connection persists. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about WebSocket, where we can use our WebSocket. And yes, I want some interaction from your side also. Let's talk a little bit, say something or write where we can use WebSockets, where it will be useful to use it. How do you think? API calls. Okay, let's imagine a WebSocket when I talked about the difference between the HTTP protocol and a WebSocket protocol. I forgot to mention that when we are using WebSocket, we can get the information from the server. Also, we don't have to send every time a request to get some data from the server. We are just requesting it once, and then we have a connection between the server and client. And server can send an information from his side to us, to the client, whenever it wants. When some data is updated and so on and so on. So we can use this somewhere like in the project where we need where the data is updated frequently, and we want to see that updated data on our client side. Okay, such things are like messages when we have a chat, or notifications, or a score panel. There are many use cases, but let's think about messages because it's the most popular one. When you are writing someone, okay, like imagine you are writing your friend. You wrote a message and you are waiting from your friend to answer you, okay? The message from your friend comes from the server, so you don't need to send the request to ask something like, do I have a new message from my friend, or so on and so on. And you are getting the message from the server without this without this request from the client side. Did I tell about these WebSockets a little bit normally? If you have questions, please ask me. I will explain it again.
It's clear.
Okay, okay, you can just send from the server some data to the client without without sending requests from the client. Okay, before this this WebSocket was created, it was created in 2009. It was implemented in Chrome browser. There were some workarounds with the HTTP, some hacks with HTTP that were used to update the information frequently. One of them is polling, and the second popular one is long polling. So I will speak a little bit about polling and about the difference between this polling and long polling. Polling is when we are sending a request in an amount of time. Like in 10 seconds, every 10 seconds, I want to send an HTTP request to check if the data is updated from the server. For example, we have our chat, and every 10 seconds we are sending a request to the server to check if someone messaged us. In this illustration, this was the best illustration I could find on internet. Just imagine of these three arrows that it's one request. When it goes up, it means that we are requesting to the server. When it goes down, it means that we are getting the data from the server. Polling works like this, like we have one request, one answer from the server. Then there is a delay, like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And then we are sending again a request to the server, getting the message. And again, so we are waiting for 10 seconds, again sending a request, getting the message. But for example, in this delay, we will have something like new data, and we can update it on our client side. Okay, like we are always checking if the new data came, we are updating it. If not, we are doing nothing. And long polling is a little, yes, it's not the same as polling, because we don't use here these delays. We are just sending a request and waiting from the server to answer. Like we send a request, then in the first time when we sent the request, we got the answer, the data. And second time when we send the request, our request is in the pending mode, because nothing was updated from the server side. Okay, imagine like we are messaging someone, he doesn't message us back, and we are waiting. The server is waiting for your friend to message you. When he messages, the server is like, oh, I have a new information for you, and gives us a response. And then we are doing it again. We are requesting the server. We are waiting for the response. Did you understand this part? Polling and long polling? If you have any questions. I think I don't hear you, or you are not speaking. I don't know. I'll check if you, okay. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay, let's go to some code I've written, because this you may think that it's a little bit strange things, this polling and long polling, and it's hard to write it, but it's not. There is nothing nothing special in this poll and a long poll. So this is the representation of a short poll. We have a function, we have a set timeout, we have a fetch call, then we are waiting for the data to come, and if there is a new data from the server, we are updating the UI or whatever you want to update. And finally, we are again calling the short poll function. It goes recursively, so this will never end, okay? Short poll, then finally we'll again fire this short poll function, and that will be called in 10 seconds. Long poll is even easier because we are doing just a fetch and waiting for the server to respond us. When the data comes, we are updating our UI or whatever we want. And finally, we are again calling long poll and recursively. Oh, I have mistake here, not short poll, long poll. Okay, that's it with a theory, with this boring theory. Okay, again, I will ask you if you have some questions. Let's discuss it.
I think it was more clear with code than with picture.
Okay, yeah, I also thought that. Okay, any questions? Yes, Temo. Temo, you had hand up. I thought you had a question. Okay, as I understand, there are no questions. And let's move to some coding with WebSockets. Okay. Okay, let's just, I thought before, like yesterday, I asked Hannah if you have learned Node.js and the server side Node.js. She told me that you did not learn this. That's why we will concentrate only on the client side. Okay, we will not speak about the server side. And just speak about these WebSockets on the client. Okay. Yes, but first of all, we have to start our server. I have already done this, and this project is on GitHub. I can send you the link if you want to do it with me. I think it's the right it's the right link. 1 minute. That's it. Okay. Yeah, first things first, we want to start our server. You can do it later if you want. We have to start our server. So when you will open this project, yes, you will see that you are located on this WebSocket folder, and we want to go from that WebSockets folder to the server folder to start the project, okay, from your terminal. And to do this, you should do cd, something like cd, and server, the folder name. This will tell your terminal that we have to move to the server folder. And from here, we have to do two things. First thing is npm install to install the node modules, but don't think about it too much. I will do it with you, installing node modules. And the second thing is npm start. Start our server, and if you see this message, our server is running happy hacking, this means that everything is all right and we can start to write our client side. Okay, let's move to the client. We are on our client. I want just to show you what's happening here. I have our index HTML. Okay, I will show it here. I think it will be better. Show it here. Okay, these two messages are just mocks. They are hard-coded in our HTML. We have our messenger messages, just messenger, the whole chat. Then header, where is this dot located, online dot, and the name located. Also messenger messages, it's the wrapper of our messages, okay? And we have here hard-coded messages. Yes, one thing to mention is that message, we have to each message we have two classes, message and message left or message right. If it's our message, it will be message right. If it's not our message, it will be message left, okay? And the messenger input, it's our input where we write messages. Okay. Here we have our styles CSS, and here is the main part, it's our JavaScript. I have written here little things like just selecting our nodes, DOM nodes, and one thing I've added is a listener to our input. Like we can write here something like console log. We have written something. Okay, where we write it here on enter, it will fire this thing. Okay, yes. Now I have also created something like kind of documentation where is written what we can do with the server. And the URL, how we should connect to the server. Okay, now let's write some code. Yeah, also I don't want just to speak about WebSockets and write the code, the API of the WebSockets. I want to go through it and read about the WebSockets in the documentation. So let's write something like, just imagine that we don't know anything in WebSockets. We Google WebSocket, we go here, and we see that that the WebSocket object provides the API for creating and managing the WebSocket connection to the server, and so on and so on. And we see that we have a constructor of a WebSocket. We understand that it's a web API and it's supported natively from JavaScript with a web API, of course. It's not a part of JavaScript, it's a part of web API that this functionality provides us our browser. And okay, we can create our WebSocket already with this WebSocket constructor. Here we can read that we should pass the URL of our server to the WebSocket, and let's do it. Let's create our object. It will be something like WebSocket equals new WebSocket with our URL. We go to our backend guy and ask him if what is the URL of your server, and he tells us that this is the URL of our server. Yes, a WebSocket connection starts with WS, and WSS is if it is secured like HTTPS. And it tells us that this URL you should use. We are using this URL. Now let's check what's happening inside our browser. When we refresh it, we go to our network, we see that something happened. Let's check first of all the headers, and we see yes, when we are sending our WebSocket connection to the server, it sends an HTTP request and tells the server that it should be upgraded to a WebSocket connection. Okay, here we can see that in our request headers we are sending a property like connection upgrade and upgrade to WebSocket. Okay, and then our server returns headers with connection upgrade WebSocket, and with status 101. That means that we are switching our protocols from HTTP to WebSocket. And after this, we have a connection between our server and our client. Also here, we go now to our backend guy again, and we say that, okay, I've done it. I have connected to you. What to do next? He tells us that after you will connect the server, you will get automatically a message from a server that is an object. It's a JSON string, but when we will parse it, it becomes an object that has a type getID and the payload ID and the user ID. Like the connection ID is sending us the connection ID, and we can use it as a user ID. And he tells us that you can change your mock name to ID that I'm sending you. And okay, let's now do it. But what are we doing? We don't know anything about WebSockets. We just saw that we created our WebSocket connection, but what to do next? We go to our documentation and read further. Okay, we have created our WebSocket, and now let's read the properties. We are thinking about getting a message, how to get a message. Binary type is not what we want, buffered amount is not what we want, extensions also, on-close also, and we get here like WebSocket on message. We are reading that it's an event listener to be called when a message is received from the server. But also we have here a WebSocket on open. It's an event listener to be called when the connection is opened. So let's use this first, because we want to be sure that it's opened, okay? That this does not give us anything. Like we want to be sure that it's opened, and let's write this WebSocket on open, and I will tell you more about it. And we are overriding this function, okay? We are writing here something like console log. We are open. So the connection is opened. Let's check it like in our WebSocket. We see here in our console that the connection is open. So the connection is done. And okay, how is it working now? A WebSocket on open, this was fired. It's really very simple. This WebSocket object has this on open function, and the logic is written in this WebSocket like when this connection will be established, just fire this on open function, and we are overriding this on open function with our function, and it's fired when the WebSocket wants it to be fired. Okay, so any questions for this moment? If you have something. I just don't. Okay, yes. Guys.
Is it built in every browser?
I think so. I think so. We can check it. As I remember, it's yes in every browser.
And is it some kind of similarity between this and WebRTC?
And what?
WebRTC, like for video and audio communication.
Oh, okay. Video and audio communication is something else. It's not done with WebSockets. Like about streaming, yes. Like when
Yes.
when watching video, no. There are just HTTP requests every time we are sending.
No, I don't mean watching. I mean chatting by video and audio.
Oh, about video and audio, I think so. I think that WebSocket is used there. Yes, because
Okay,
we want to have a connection between these two computers. Yes, there. I think it's WebSocket using there, but I don't know for real. I will write about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the question. Yes. Okay. Now, again, the question is like, did you understand everything I wrote here? I didn't write many things, but like for this moment, do you have any questions?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. One more thing is now when we know that the connection is established, we want to listen to our server. And to listen to our server, we use WebSocket on message function. Let's write it here. Okay, we want to use it on our object. And let's override the function. And yes, also, now we are listening to our server, and when the server will provide us some information, we will get here some event. Let's go here and let's.
Is it inside on open?
Yes, we have done it inside on open because when the connection is done between the socket and the server, we want from that moment to listen to the server. Okay.
So on open is not just fired once after opening connection and then just closed. It's open during the whole connection, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Yes. So again, please again ask me the question because I did not understand it well. Like if you are asking me about WebSocket on open, how it works, it will just be fired once, okay? It's like WebSocket on open, and then we have this console log. This will be done, and then this WebSocket on message is an listener that will be created, and it will listen through the whole of the connection of our WebSocket connection. Okay, if I explained it well, I don't know. We can also do it like here, but there is no. We can, but it will be better to do it here because when the WebSocket connection is established, we want then to listen to our WebSocket to our server.
Okay.
Okay, now we have an event here. Yes, and okay, let's just console log this event. what do we get here? Uncaught WebSocket is not defined at WebSocket on open.
Because S is capital. On message.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, we get here our message. Okay, what it's an object message event, and we have a property on that message event that is data, and that is a JSON format data. It's the same that we are getting here. This message. Okay. Now we have this data. We can destructure it from here, from the event. We don't need this whole event, okay? This message event object. We just need this little piece of this object, the data, and we can get it like this. And let's console it now. Console log it now. Okay, you understand? Yes, this syntax. What does it mean to destructure?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Let's refresh it, and we get this string. Now we want to get this type and this payload from that string. Okay, we are doing this also with destructuring. Like let's create type and payload from data. But not from data. We want because data now it's a JSON. We want this to be formatted, okay, to be parsed. We are writing like JSON format parse. We are parsing our data, and from this data we are getting type and payload. These two objects. Let's okay. Now one thing, we just want to write, we know that, yes, in our payload we have the user ID and the type is get ID. Let's write something like this, like if type equals get ID. Then we want to update our user, okay? Like write update user that does not exist now, but we will write it later. But let's think about this update user, what we want to pass there. We want to pass there only payload.id, yes, the ID of the payload. That is the user name. Now we can create. Okay, we can also push this listener to our on open function. Again, let's discuss this thing. We have our WebSocket. We are creating a new connection with new WebSocket. We know that on this WebSocket object that we get from our constructor, we have an onOpen method that is fired when the connection is established. Okay, it's fired and then it's creating these things. It's fired once, it's not firing every time. We get this input add event listener, and because it's an add event listener, it will listen to this input even if this WebSocket on open will not exist. Okay, it dies after the calling, but this exists, this listener, and the WebSocket on message also exists. Okay, I'm telling. Do you understand what I'm saying or not?
Yes, I get why you put it at event listener on open, but I still don't get why on message is inside it. But I'll dig in after lecture. So continue.
Can you ask me again, because I didn't understand it?
Like as I read in the documentation right now, on open is fired when connection is open,
yes.
and on message is fired every time when message is received. So why do we need to put on message inside?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can also not to put it there. Okay, it's just first thing, we are creating a scope here. It's another scope, but okay, yes, you are right. We can do it also like this, but it's the same because we are okay. Let's think about this thing. Okay, like WebSocket, our connection is not established. Like here, we are creating this on open that will not be fired because the WebSocket because the connection is not established. And now we have here like this code that will do nothing because our connection is not established. Like it will not fail, but it's doing nothing. Like WebSocket on message is doing nothing because we don't have this connection. Now, did you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
That's why I
yeah.
just put it here because like logically we have our new WebSocket, our connection. When the connection is done, is established, then this on open will be fired, and in this on now when we know truly that the connection is done, we have this listener.
Yeah, only then it has like purpose. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
How can you say it again?
Only then it's meaningful, like to
Yes,
fire it
yes.
on message. Okay.
Sure. But of course you can do something like this. Oh, sorry. Something like this also, okay? It's not an error, it's not a problem. It's just for readability I did something like this.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now let's delete this console log. The connection is opened. We have our WebSocket on open, and yes, yes, and we have added here also again with this logic like input add event listener key press, and we are listening to this thing only when the connection is established. Okay, because if there is no connection, we don't want to listen to this input. That's why I put this input add event listener also in our WebSocket on open function. Okay, now, yes, we are here like update user. Yes, when we get our message, which type is get ID, we want to update user with payload ID. Now let's create this update user. With our ID, or we can call it just username. And we can, yes, that's it. And now what we have to do here is yes, we have our user node here. We are telling it user inner text or inner HTML. Here you can use both, it's not a problem. User inner HTML equals username, because we are getting the message from the server. You know the difference between the inner HTML and the inner text.
Yes.
Okay, what's
and letters which are inside.
Inner HTML also contains text, right?
yes, Yes, surely. Yeah, Levan. Inner HTML makes is sensitive to our HTML text. Okay, like when we write inner HTML, we can write something like this, like h1, and write here some code, or of course in a string. Okay, and the browser will read it as HTML, this code. But when we use inner text, it will write this part as a text. Okay, this is the difference, and it's better, of course, to use inner text because it's called XSS text, because someone can write a code, something like script, and write here some script. Okay, there are some examples in internet, and I will show you it later. But in this case, it's not a big deal if you are using inner text or inner HTML, because we know that our backend guy will not do something bad for us, and he will send just an user ID. But you don't know what happens with the server, and let's use inner text. If someone hacks the server and someone happens. Okay, a user inner text will be username. And now let's check here what happens. Okay, now you can see that on every refresh we are getting a new username. Okay, that is sent from our server. Now we want to do yes. Now we want yes. Also, we want this this online dot to become green. Let's do it also like update user. Let's create another function like const update online dot. If it's is online, it's a boolean, and we will update our online dot that we have here. Online dot. Let's look through this online dot, and we can see that it has a class name. Yes, a class name with a messenger dot and messenger dot modifier, which is red. If we change this red to green, it will become green. Okay, I've just written the CSS for it. So let's check this is online, and if is online, make class make this dot online dot class list remove messenger dot red, and add here messenger dot green. Okay, else do the same. Something like this. Okay, let's check it now. Okay, nothing happens. Oh yeah, because we did not do anything. Update user, and if the update user will be fired, we can update also, or we can do it like here, message update user and update online dot, like true, it's online. Okay, that's it. Now let's move forward and speak about the messaging. We go to our backend guy again and ask him how to do this messaging stuff, and he tells us that whenever you will send a message, you are sending a message with this syntax. Like we have an object which type is new message, and I will understand on my side that it's a new message, and with payload that is an object with a message parameter that is a string, our message. And after you will send this message, I will send your message to everyone that is connected to me. Okay, like let's. If you understand what I'm talking about, if not, let's I don't know, let's create here something like this. Okay, I will just show you. Let's create some shapes. Like this is the server. Let's write here that this is server. We have some users. This is client 1. This is client 2. And client 3 if you want. Let's create client 3 also. Okay, this client 1, let's imagine that they all are connected to our server, okay? Our server knows about these 3 clients. Let's write here what's going on. Let's make it beautiful. Okay, now when client 1 will send a message to our server, we want this server to send that message to client 2 and client 3, but not to client 1, okay? So it's already done, but I just wanted to show you how it's implemented on the server side. So client sends a message to server redirects that messages to client 2 and client 3, okay? Client 1 doesn't get this message. Do you understand what I'm talking about and what I said?
It's more like a forum than chat, or like group chat.
Yes, it's something like a group chat. Imagine, yeah, everyone who will connect to that server will be a player of that chat. Okay, so you understand, yes, what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Now let's code it. And yes, as our backend guy told us, he says that when you send this object, I will send that object to other guys. Okay, now let's think about it. How we create the connection. We are listening to the messages. And the third thing we want to do is sending messages. Again, we go to our WebSocket API. We are checking for methods, and we see that we have a WebSocket close method that will close our connection. And we have a send method where we can send our data to the server. Okay, let's write it. But when we want to send that data when we are pressing on enter. Okay. First thing, we check that enter is working, and let's write our code like WebSocket send. What do we want to send here? Okay, let's just create an object data that is this type. I'm sorry. Like type new message. We are doing this for backend to understand us. Okay. Let's copy it. So we have an object with type new message. When we will send this type, our server will understand that we want to send a message, okay? And a payload that is an object with a message property that is a string, and our string will be our input value, okay? So input is this, and we want this value to be sent there. You understand everything?
Yes.
Okay, nice. But one thing, we don't want to send the data as a data. We want to send it stringified. We want to send a JSON, okay? So we are doing JSON stringify, or we can do it here. JSON stringify and then this object. And we are sending this data. Nice. Now we are sending data, and let's just check what is happening here, like in our chat, okay? We go to our network, we go to this WS and checking what's happening here. Okay, first thing is that we get our ID, and now let's check if we are sending something like and press enter. We see that yes, we have sent something. Okay, this red arrow means that we have the message from our server. We got the message from the server. The green arrow means that we are sending the message to our server. Now this stuff happened, like we send a message to our server with type new message and payload message and okay, let's now check. Oh, I didn't have open. Okay, I didn't open here things our network tab. Now it will be cleared, but let's do it again. Okay, I just want you to show what's happening here. Like we are sending this message to our server from user that's with 56 user, this ending 56, and here we have to get this message, okay? As we talked already, like client one, when someone is sending the message to the server sends it back to other clients, okay? And here we can see that we got another message with payload something and the user ID who sent this message. Everything clear? And now we have to handle it on our front end.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, nice. Okay, let's handle it now. We have sent our data. One thing we want to do also is to clear our input. Input value equals this. Okay, and yes. Okay, one thing now. As we said, we are sending from client one to the server, and the server sends to other ones. So we have to show this message from the client when he is pressing enter from the client who is sending the message, we want to show that message that he has sent. Okay, so let's write a function like show message. Show message, and this show. Oh yeah, one thing more. When I was playing with WebSockets, I saw such a thing that a WebSocket send doesn't return us any promise, or we just can't get if the message was sent. There are some ways with the buffers and so on, but it's not the best way to check if our data was sent. That's why I was just I wanted just to show you that WebSockets, we can use WebSockets without libraries, but there are very cool libraries that you can use, like WebSocket.io, Socket.io, and there are others. I was using Signaler with C#. But I just wanted to show you that this you can use it natively, okay, on with the browser. The socket are provided by the browser.
But you will not know if your message was received, yeah, by another one.
Yes, by the server.
Okay.
That's, yes, we don't know it because like HTTP, it's always clear because you can do something like you get a promise, okay? You can chain it. You can get if something was done or not. Here, then even the ID tells me that property then does not exist on type void. It doesn't. It returns nothing. Okay. But let's keep our fingers crossed and imagine that it will be sent, and create this show message function after sending our data. Okay, let's imagine how it will be, this show message, like what properties we have to pass to it. First thing is actually the message. The second thing, because we want here also to show who it was, will be the user. And the third thing is we want to know if it is my message or not. Okay, if it's my, we will show it on the right side. If not, we will show it on the left side. Okay. And the third thing is like is mine. Let's write this show message function here. Okay, let's pass now this data. Like message will be the message will be our input value. Okay, the user is our user. Okay, no, user inner HTML. Yes, it will be our user in HTML, and is mine will be true in this case because we are handling this enter button. Okay, we are sending that yes, it's our message in this case. Now here, what we want to do here. Okay, now let's create these elements, this whole message. Okay, I'm sorry, this one. Let's just put it here to see, and let's create these messages. like let's create this message container. That will be this one. Equals document create element div. Okay. Now we want this message container to apply class equals this one message. Okay, and we want use here dynamic string because we don't know it's left or right. When is mine will be if is mine, then we want it to be on the right, else it should be left. Okay. You understand what I'm writing, yes?
Yeah, it's clear.
Not
Yeah.
interrupt me. Okay, now we have created this message container. Now we want to create this message user. Again, we are doing the same thing here. Oh, I shouldn't do this. Create element, it will be span. And again, class name will be message user. Just this. We can use just normal string here, message user. And one thing we want to add here is this like message user inner text. Here we don't want, okay, it's user. Here we can use inner HTML also, but let's use inner text. This will be the user. Let's call it username. Okay, and okay, now it's the message text. Like again, we are creating the same. It's a span. It is, yes, it doesn't have any class, so we can just delete it. It's message text and message user, message text. Inner text will be our message. Here we can't use inner HTML because the user is sending something. Okay, if the user will write some JavaScript inside our script text, or inside like on there are some other cases like image, and when they are putting in the source an image that is invalid, and then passing a callback like error callback, and this error callback will be fired, and they are like writing scripts, harmful scripts. In this case, okay, let's show this, by the way, okay, like how it's working for now. Like we are writing something, we are pressing enter, and nothing happens. Okay, why is nothing happening? Let's check. In our console did not fire anything. Like, okay, oh yes, of course, because we did nothing with this. We want message container, append child, this message user, and message container, append child, this message text. Okay, these two things. And the third thing we want to do is to append this message container to our messages. Okay, here we are writing it here, messages, append child message container. That's it. Now it should work. Yeah, it's working. Yes, but we need the scroll. To do this scroll, we have a scroll to method. For our nodes, and first parameter is the coordinates of your horizontal coordinates, and the second parameter is the vertical coordinates, and the vertical coordinates is our messages scroll height, because we want it to be on the top. Okay, something like this. Now let's check if we refresh. Okay, that's it. That's it. Now let's handle this. Okay, the problem is that no one sees it. Okay, yes, we are getting these messages, but no one sees this. And let's now delete this mocks from this hard-coded stuff from our HTML, because we don't need this anymore. Now let's check it. Let's write here something. Here we are getting these messages, but nothing happens. Now we have to write one thing, and that's it. Yes, here we have to write another if type equals, not get ID, but new message that we get from our server. We want to do what? We want to show message. And here in our payload, we get these things, okay? Message and the user ID. We are writing it here, like payload message and payload ID. Yes, user ID. I'm sorry. And the third thing is false, that it's not our message. Now let's check it. So you understand everything I'm saying, yes? Why we wrote it here. Yes. Okay, nice. We write here something. And we did not get it, yes. Okay, let's update everything. Let's check it here. We are writing something. And we are getting it here and here. If we write it from here, we will get it here and here. And yes, that's done. That's that's it. Our project is working.
Great.
Okay, that's it. What I wanted to speak about. These were WebSockets. We also have here some methods that we did not use. Where am I? Like WebSocket close, you can close anytime the socket when you want it. Also on error, it's like on open. If it did not open, it will shoot this on error. You can handle errors. And yeah, that's it. That's the main things I wanted to discuss here. Again, if you have any questions, please ask me. Let's. Yes, I will answer your questions if you have any.
I have a question. As you mentioned, we don't exactly know if server received our message, and then if another user received it. So I think it's a major disadvantage for chats. Like we need to know if someone received our message. So what are the real use cases of?
Yes, real use case, of course. Yes. Again, like you are speaking about this, yes, about this WebSocket send.
Yes,
yes,
exactly.
It doesn't provide us a good user experience, okay, about this data was sent or not. I googled it, and there are some there is a way to check it, but it just really painful to write this, okay. It does not give us this best practice, like with how do we say, how do we call it, it's promise, yes, with promises, or with the second function, okay, the callback. But there is a way they are checking with the buffer, that somewhere in the buffer that I don't remember it. But of course,
is it still used in real
yes,
cases?
now we will I will tell you about it. Like when you are using this WebSocket, yes, you won't in 99. I didn't use this WebSocket like the built-in WebSocket in from our browser. Okay, this is provided by our browser. It's what is provided like natively, but there are very good libraries that you can use for WebSockets, like Socket.io. We can check it, and there is written everything like normal people should write. Okay, Socket.io. It's on the client and on the server also. And you are writing here a socket a very cool way, like apt-get. Where is some?
Is it using like, is it on base of this WebSocket, or
Yes,
it's
of course. It's using that WebSocket, but it's a library that provides us a better user experience. Okay, we are writing it like normal people. We have here, I think, everything like promises and what normal people, normal developers need.
Yes,
Okay. Yes, that's it. I also didn't use this Socket.io. I was using Signal R. It's also yes. So backend wrote was writing the project on ASP.NET, and he was using this Signal R, and I was using it also on the client. It's also on the client and on the server. This library is provided. Okay, any questions? If you have more questions about these sockets, if you understood it well and or not so well, and have some questions.
It was quite clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, okay, I'm missing this these messages. I don't know why I don't have notification. I think the WebSocket is not working properly. In 19, it's creating closure here, right? About it. In which part did you? Yes, it's closure. So okay, you were talking, I think, about this part. Yes, about open. Here, yes, we are creating closure. Like it's not this onOpen function was fired, but this exists, this input at event listener, because of closures, of course. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think, okay, yes. I think it can be possible if we add another at event listen on message, and if our recipient receives the message, it can send back delivery response. Doesn't it work like this? So Levan, I did not understand fully what you are writing about. Could you please?
Yeah. I was talking about the problem of delivery of our messages. Just
Yeah.
find out if our message was sent to the server and then to another user. I was just asking if it's possible to add another method on receiving messages, and if a user receives message, it can send back a delivered response. That was my question, if it's possible to solve this problem.
Okay, like if someone gets a message, what happens then?
Yeah, I was just
Okay,
talking about the
I
problem
understand. Yes,
that,
let's say it again if you can.
I was talking about the problem that it is not possible to find out whether our message was received by another user. And the question was if it's possible to solve this problem if we add another event listener.
Event listener on what? Okay, we are sending this. For example, we have WebSocket send. Oh, now I understand. Like we have one user, for example, one user. He sends something. The message was not sent, and for this user to understand it was sent or not. Okay. Yes, you are asking this.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I think it won't be provided. I think it will be provided by these WebSockets. But I don't know if on error, an event listener to be called when an error occurs. I think this will handle this, you know, because an error occurs. I think the server will send this to every participant. But I think this on error method will be called only if the connection interrupts, or there will be a problem with the connection itself and not on the sending message. Okay, like what you are talking about, we could do it if we had here promises. Yes, we could do something like this, like then, and then with this then we could write here a logic. Yes, that okay, the first we know that the first callback is if everything is great. The second callback is when there is some error. We will pass here error, and here we could do something like WebSockets and send something, okay, like error, and this would send an error, and another it will be another request, not request, it will send another part of data to the server and tell him that there was some error and please do something with that error. So I understand. Did you understand what I'm telling about? What I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but yes,
Thank
this WebSocket send doesn't provide us this feature. Okay, it doesn't give us this promise, and that's a problem. But this, of course, is an asynchronous method. Okay, more questions? Okay, then I think that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. It was a great lecture.
Thanks for the informative webinar. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.